welcome back to part 2 of Let's Play Sonic Robo Blast 2. Where we left off, I just finished Green Flower Zone with 3 emeralds, so I'm going to just jump right into Techno Hill. Techno Hill is kind of sort of a weird cross-up between What on Earth? Stop that raptor. It's kind of a weird crossover between Green Hill and Chemical Plant, that sort of thing. It's pretty cool. It has purple water in it that will hurt you, because purple water is obviously painful. The Act 1 is quite short. Act 2 is a little more complex. But it's also fairly short if you know where you're going. I am going to be taking the long route to the end and then backtracking to go another shorter route so I can get 2 emerald tokens, because it will be nice to get them all early, because then I can use Supersonic for quite a large amount of the game. Yeah, this is the... Actually, I'm pretty sure both of these paths that are here fork around. It's just this is the side that has the secret route. Not that it actually matters because I can't take it. I need to go all the way. I need to pretty much go right to the end and then backtrack afterwards. But it doesn't really matter. It's a very short level. There is an emerald token in this room. This is the start of the the chemical plant, if you will. Act 2 takes place inside this, and the emerald token is down here. There we go. Let's gotta go grab the other one. Is through here. It's a horrible jump because of the low ceiling, so I'm probably going to... Yep, never mind. As I said, I'm probably going to fall in the goo. But it doesn't really matter, because taking damage to save time. I think there might be a free man in this room. Can't really remember. Oh, apparently not. But there is an emerald token. I just need to kill this guy. Oh, I need to also not get hit by him like a tit. Through this wall, there's another emerald token. So that's both of them. Oops. Now I can just zip around here to the end. From where I abandoned the walkway, it basically just leads round across the top of the platform, and then you drop down a pipe, and you're pretty much in a long corridor that leads straight to the end. But now, time for the first actually moderately challenging special stage. It's just got a floor of water, a fairly strict time limit, and these lovely red platforms that collapse when you stand on them. You don't need to collect very many rings though. So it's a short stage. It's just a little tricky if it's the first time you get to it. And to be brutally honest, I still find it tricky even having done it a couple of times now, so... It doesn't feel unfair though, like some of the... Oops. It doesn't feel unfair like some of the later stages, which is always nice. The fifth one, the one after this, is quite a bit trickier, but hopefully I will be able to do that on the first try as well. Oh, bugger. Oh dear. Now, for example, that was a pretty good example of Sonic's air control. Tails and Knuckles there wouldn't have been able to get the forward momentum to make that jump from a standing start, whereas Sonic I am lucky enough that I can get away with doing that. Yay, extra man. Right then, this one you've got a fairly short time limit, there's a lot of rings, and in order to finish it you need to do some fairly precise jumping over a deep pool of water that if you fall in, pardon me, you will lose quite a bit of time. So, what I'm going to do is get as many on the ground as I can first, before I head up to the top, because that way I can spend the least amount of time doing those jumps as physically possible. Oh dear. It's really not a terribly difficult stage. If you're quick enough at the bottom part, you have plenty of time. It's just if you panic on the jumps or fall in the water, things can go a bit pear-shaped very quickly because you're underwater for such a long time that you lose a lot of time. I'm also not doing great at manoeuvring, but it shouldn't matter too much, hopefully. Oh dear, I think that's all of the rings on the bottom part. Now I just need to go up and drop some platforms. Because these platforms, once they're dropped, they stay dropped forever. you do need to drop them. Actually, I think the middle one re-rises, possibly. Maybe not, I'm not entirely sure. But I should have dropped enough, because you can get 10 from either one, and lots from the middle one. Oh dear, that was close. Yeah, you get plenty from the middle one, so I have more than enough rings from the 5 platforms I've dropped. There we go. 5 out of 5 so far. 2 more tokens inside Act 2, one of which does require a little bit of a sneaky detour, because you have to travel through some of the damaging purple water, and it's difficult if you don't have an elemental shield. The only way to get one is by going through this spring into the ceiling, if I can just land on it right, into this vent, and then we follow this treadmill around into this room that has a lovely elemental monitor. The only thing I have to do now is be careful and hang on to it until the end of the level, where I actually need it. And now I'm inside the vents with the rings that you could see right at the very beginning. And the way out should be just above me here. Yep. There we go, back out. I'm going to take the room with the gun rather than the laser crusher room, because I don't really like the laser crusher room. This gun over here turns off the crusher. Gun. Well, it puts a big force field around the gun so that it can't fire, which is especially handy as it stops shooting you. I'm going to be taking this route around here because there is a token. It's got to speed through the crusher. Alright, in this entirely non-suspect patch of wall, you can jump through it, and there's a token, so that's 1 down. And for the last one, we just need to make a brief detour in the next room. This is normally the final room, and I am actually going to unlock the exit first. Normally, you go up and over those springs, and then the exit is through a small cave, but there is a huge door blocking it, and you need to press the switch to open it first. Oh, actually, I almost have enough for another free man, so... Now that I've done that, just take a plunge in the water, go inside this pipe and get sucked up. You'd have to get very, very lucky to make it through this without, you have to be very, very lucky not to die in there if you try and get without a shield, because you take damage constantly. Well, after your invincibility frames run out, and I don't think you can safely collect rings. Alright, here we are. This is just above where it would have dropped me off, and I just follow these rings down, and you can see where the end is. Normally that is a door until you press that switch. But I got both emerald tokens, so I get 2 shots at special stages. First is special stage 6, which in older versions was the last special stage. This is the first one that is also set over a pit, which means if I fall, then the special stage automatically ends. So hopefully I won't be doing that. It's nowhere near as difficult as special stage 7. It's actually quite simple by comparison. This platforming isn't. Oh dear, I appear to be stuck in a wall of some kind. Oh no. Ah, there we go. The platforming isn't too tricky, is the nice thing, and the time limit isn't too tight either. Right then. Quick stint around these. I want to maximise as many easy rings as I can. And then after this I have to start jumping up to the higher levels over these collapsing platforms. Some more easy rings. There is a bunch of rings on top of the tower, and that's a very, very easy strategy for Knuckles and Tails. Tails in particular, because he can just fly up. But as Sonic, I have honestly never tried going up there, and I don't know if there's anything difficult to do after those platforms, so I'm just going to stick with what I know, which is to do these, which aren't anywhere near as hard as they look. Almost done. One more jump. Hold 2. And done. Just got the last special stage now. Unfortunately though, it is the hardest one. But it would be nice if I could get them all done in one shot, because the timing is tight and there's some very difficult jumps. Right, I have to be quick. I missed a ring, which means I have to do an extra jump inside the intersection, which is going to be a pain. Pretty much all... Well, basically there are 50 rings, I believe. Oh, no, I'm making stuff up. There's 50 rings on the inside, and there's 35 rings on both sides of the outside each. 50 rings if you go all the way through. Oh, bugger. Basically, you have to, the easiest way to do it is to go around the outside first and then do the inside. But two of the jumps in particular, the long one that I fell off on is the same as the long one at the start, and that's difficult. Okay, so it's the Techno Hill boss. He's a lot like the chemical plant boss. But instead of filling up and then shooting at you, he runs around the arena spraying. And for his last attack, all the bosses do this with 2 hits to go. He just jumps around and sprays goo around himself. Not too difficult to deal with. Oh dear. Also, this entire level takes place on a railway, which you can kind of see now, but if you fall out then you instantly die. It's the first boss fight that has sort of a perimeter that you can die in. Well, that is Techno Hill done, so I will see you in the next part, which will be Deep Sea Zone.